I learned growing up that even though I had teachers, pastors, leaders, advisors, counselors, at the end of the day, it was my choice to choose the advice that they were giving me or not choose it. I can finally say the advice and the voice that I was giving to others, I now give to myself. The biggest thing I've ever faced in my life was to get out of toxic relationships. And first it started with bloodline family. Family used to always tell me, you don't come around, you think you're better than each others. I think I'm better than them. No. I just got tired of every time I got on the phone, I heard something horrible. Whether someone was going to jail, whether someone got beat up or somebody's fighting. It just was always negativity, sickness, death, disease, violence. So I separated myself as a child, stayed in church, went to school alone because I didn't like what I was hearing. And it's okay to make better choices because you don't like your surroundings. And that's what I did from a child all the way to now. And as a 35-year-old woman, beautiful friend, beautiful person inside and out, the voice I gave to others, the rescue that I came to for others, I come to for myself. Many of you out there looking for people to come and save you. Come and be your superhero, your rescuer. You are the one who must rescue you. We are responsible for what we see and hear and do. As I got older as a kid, I became more responsible of my environment. You may not have been responsible for your environment growing up. But as you get older, you get the liberty to say, I want to live here or live there. Then you control your environment. I had to look at my environment and say, no, this is not what I want as a child, and I definitely didn't want it as an adult, and I sure now don't want it as a mother. I have faced emotional violence, sexual violence, spiritual violence, physical violence from people, places, friends, associations, co-workers. All because I chose to speak up and say, you know what? I was in a relationship that was not healthy for me. From day one, it wasn't healthy. I married out of manipulation because the preacher said, you are a sinner, so marry. Then when I got in that marriage, I thought I can save a person. You cannot save someone. You cannot change someone who does not want to be changed. I was assaulted before I got married. Had a baby from that assault. And I pressed on because the church said you need to marry. And so I married. And I prayed. And I had my little 2-hour prayers. I stayed consistent in my life with God. Then I began to find some things out about my spouse. The first year, maybe second year living together, I went in the closet and I found all of these, what exists, I don't know if I can say it, sexual pornography on phones, on all kind of things. I immediately stopped him. First, I threw all the things away. And I had a conversation with him and I said, this is what is important to me. At the time, he only had one son. I believe I was pregnant with my second one. And I said, I do not want my son to be addicted to these things. I don't want to be addicted to these things. I want you to know that I put it out of my house. And we had the conversation and we prayed and my spouse was along with it. And I prayed and prayed. He kept saying he was praying. And I kept seeing the opposite. These are red flags. I kept seeing that spirit come back, whether it was in our bedroom, whether it was in our living room. Then it got to the point where he did not need me in the bed because he had what he needed all the time. Things like that in a relationship for me is a non-negotiable. And especially because I have children. And especially because I do not ever want to be addicted to something like that. And I don't believe in that. Therefore, I don't want my children getting addicted to that. So we had these conversations. And these are just over the course of 10 years. Me praying, hoping, and believing that this person would change. A month will go by, 2 months will go by. Oh, I change and I'll see something and it comes right back. Then I started judging myself in the relationship. I started saying, well, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I need to look like the women that this man looks at. So I started calling myself sloppy and walking around a certain way and wasn't caring about my body, eating very sloppy to conform to what he really liked. But that broke me. It hurt me more than anything. Trying to transform myself because someone had an addiction that they cannot stop and made me feel less than. That's not a healthy relationship. Some of the many red flags that I noticed, and I kept passing it down with prayer, like it'll get better. And I just kept praying. I was changing. My surroundings were changing, but this person just kept lying to me. And the more he lied, the more I prayed. I'm like, Lord, at this point, I can't change a person. I can only change myself. Sometimes you just gotta breathe even when you're sharing your story. Escaping this relationship has been a lesson and a blessing. I'm so grateful because it has taught me my worth and my value, what I am willing to negotiate and what I'm not willing to negotiate when it comes to relationships. Seeing that I was placed and born into relationships that were already preformed, whether it was religion or family. I never knew a healthy love until God became my healthy love, and later I became my own healthy love. We'll continue to talk about that. But I had to grow to get here. So as time grew on in this relationship that I was forced in, I noticed gambling issues, money missing. I noticed me getting multiple jobs. I noticed me always going out, reaching out for resources, whether we was behind on rent, lights, water, whatever it was. If we were out of food or anything, I noticed I was always going to go get it in this relationship. And a relationship is not a one-way street. A relationship is not pour all the labor on your spouse, he or she. That's not a healthy relationship at all. And I had to realize that. I ignored it for a while. But the more you ignored something, the worse it becomes. And the more I ignored it, it always came back to me like an open wound that would never heal. And you're right, it's an open wound. I'm right, it's an open wound that it won't heal unless you get to the source of it, get to the bottom of it, and heal it. So as I am experiencing and have experienced these toxic relationships and toxic marriage, I had to learn how to go heal my wounds within.